From CBS News, this is 30 Minutes with Betty Ann Bowser and Christopher Glenn.
All over the country, armies of young people are blasting away at invaders from outer space and paying for the privilege. I'll be looking at the electronic game craze, which has not only fascinated the nation, but which has created some interesting problems as well.
In my story, we'll meet a 26-year-old married man who decided to pose as a teenager and go back to high school. We'll talk to him about the book he wrote describing his experiences as an undercover kid.
And later on What It Takes, we'll hear from a veterinarian on what qualifications are needed for that interesting job.
So stay with us. In a moment, we'll begin our stories on 30 Minutes.
It's the Dolly Pop's Dress Show.
Dolly Pop's Dress Show. Oh, Dolly, Dolly, Dolly.
The new Dolly Pop's Dress Show has a stage that really turns. A dress show dressing room with 8 beautiful pop-on outfits.
You are beautiful. Dolly Pop's Dress Show. Oh, Dolly, Dolly, Dolly. Dolly Pop's.
Dolly Pop's Dress Show comes with everything you see here. You have to put it together. New from Knickerbocker.
When you play bonkers, you roll to go forwards, but a card can send you back, or forwards, or back again.
That's why they call it bonkers.
Every time you play a bonkers card, you change the bonkers track, so it's never the same game twice.
That's why they call it bonkers.
No matter which way you move, you try to land on score and get a point, because the first one with 12 points wins.
That's why they call it bonkers.
Bonkers, a family game from Parker Brothers.
In 1978, a new Japanese machine appeared on American shores. Although it looked innocent enough, this machine turned out to have some unusual powers. It kept kids mesmerized for hours, made teenage boys forget about girls, and even caused business executives to skip the 3-martini lunch. The machine was Space Invaders, and it became so popular that it inspired a song, fan clubs, tournaments, and even caused a serious shortage of coins in Japan. Space Invaders prompted a video game revolution in the United States, as more than 30 computer and electronics companies started designing new games and competing for our quarters. In 1980, Americans spent $3.3 billion playing video games. That's more money than the total combined budgets for the cities of Chicago, Boston, Washington, Dallas, and Cincinnati last year. Who's playing the games? Well, if you go to any arcade, you're likely to see people of all ages. But game manufacturers tell us that the overwhelming majority, about 85% of all the players, are teenage males.
One main reason is like the teenage kids under 16, they can't drive yet, so they can't go out cruising around, and you know, they need something to do, so they come here and they waste their money on the games.
It's something like a sport almost, parts of it. Just the coordination and developing patterns.
It lets you release some of your tensions and, you know, lets you think for a minute that you're a pilot of a spaceship destroying aliens that are attacking the Earth.
It's good just to sit down and not have to think for a while and just blow things up. You know, like you hear about people that go out and smash their cars into trees because they're just fed up. This is a good way of taking out your aggressions without doing any harm.
While the kids are busy playing the games, the manufacturers are busy making them. The Atari Company in Sunnyvale, California, is the oldest U.S. manufacturer of video games, and the company estimates that business has increased 300 or 400% in the past few years. Don Osborne is the vice president of sales. Why is it, do you think, Don, that the games have become so popular at this particular point in time?
We are a space-age society. We are an electronic society. We are a society, and especially at the teenage level, that has grown up with an enormous amount of exposure to television. The interest in video games is simply a reflection of that. If we weren't an electronic society, we wouldn't have video games at all. Small printed circuit boards inside the machines contain the complicated information that makes the games work. The brain of the whole operation is this tiny microprocessor.
In 1950, it would have taken a room full of computers to perform the data processing functions of today's microcircuits. Sophisticated technology is also essential in designing the games. Teams of engineers work to translate the ideas for the games into the computer programs which will get them on the screen. The entire process, from original concept to when a game goes on the market, can take over a year.
What is it that makes a good game?
Typically, a game has to be easy to learn how to play in the beginning, but it must be difficult to master. That's very, very important. We also find that a successful game today must be a game that, as the player's skill increases, that player can have the opportunity to play for longer and longer periods of time. If they can develop the skill and abilities, they want to be able to play for as long as they can.
The amount of time some people can play the games is staggering. Greg Davies, an 18-year-old from Fresno, California, played Asteroids for 31 hours on just 1 quarter. His final score for the game, a record 15.5 million points. To get this good, Greg practiced for a year, pumping hundreds of dollars in quarters into Asteroids. Still, he thinks it was worth it.
You make a lot more friends around here. People look up to you, you know. There's a lot of people that, oh, well, here, you know, here's Greg. Here comes Greg again.
Did it change your life, Greg?
Oh, yeah. Now my life kind of centers around the games, arcades and stuff. Right now, that's my thing.
If you're looking for teenagers in Mount Prospect, Illinois, you're likely to find them at Mother's Pinball Arcade. With its low-level lighting and constant rock music, Mother's has become a kind of hangout for the local youth. Bill Herman owns the arcade.
How often do the kids come in? I mean, are there repeaters, regulars that you see a lot?
There's a curve. There's initial exposure to games where the people come in almost every day for maybe a month, and then it tapers off to where it's maybe 2 or 3, 4 times a week. But there is a curve. That initial exposure really gets people in. Once they get exposed to games, if they've never played some of the top games, they come in and play them, then they come in every day. They just can't wait to get back to try and do better on the game.
Some of the regular customers we talked to said they practically live here at Mother's. By their own admission, they're part of a growing group of video addicts.
Do you get addicted to the games?
Definitely. If the game beats me, you know, I just feel like I have to go out and get it, and I keep trying until I do.
You want to get the high score in the game every time you come in, and if you don't, you just pump in another quarter.
If you're infatuated with a machine, you can think of almost nothing else and just concentrate on it.
Steve Ritchie is a video game designer.
What do the kids get out of playing a game? They bring anything beneficial away from it?
Definitely. I think some of the benefits are, it definitely improves your motor skills. Your reaction time can improve on a game from one day to the next, and it really tests them. You feel very satisfied when you're finished playing. You feel like you've accomplished something. You've beaten a machine.
While playing video games may have some benefits, this obsession with the games can also have negative effects.
Sometimes I'll go over at lunch and start playing the games and miss a class after lunch or something.
Has it touched into your grades at all?
I've probably moved down about 1 grade since I started playing. 1 or 2 grades down. I'm about B's or C's right now.
How do your folks feel about it? I might imagine you must have some kind of ambiguous feelings. You know, on the one hand, you're the champion. On the other hand, your grades have gone down a notch.
I think they kind of like it because they always know where I'm at. They know I'm not off causing trouble somewhere. They know they can just call the arcade or call Roundtable and I'll be there.
Not all parents are in favor of their children spending time and money playing video games. In several states, parent groups are trying to pass laws regulating the use of the machines.
Use and ownership of amusement devices.
We went to a town meeting in Irvington, New York, where the citizens were considering passing an ordinance to prevent young teenagers from playing the games and to restrict the number of games that would be allowed in the town. The debate started because the local junior high school is located right across the street from a delicatessen where the kids like to hang out when they're not in class. This year, the deli installed 3 video games, and some parents got concerned.
There were children stopping on their way to school in the morning at 8:15 or whatever, and playing a few games and coming in a few minutes late to school because they were involved in the games. There were children using their lunch money. Instead of eating lunch, it was much more fun playing games. Who cared about lunch?
Although some of the kids admitted they spend up to $5 a day on the games, they all thought it was unfair for the town to pass laws to stop them from playing.
I don't think the town has any right to restrict us from using our money because it's our money, you know? I mean, the parents are one thing, but I don't think the town should do anything about it. I think it's up to the parents to make the rules, or the kids to make their own rules.
I don't like it. This is supposed to be a free country, land of opportunities. I want opportunity to play a game.
As it turned out, the town decided not to put an age limit on the games, but they did pass a ruling that would make it impossible for an arcade to open in Irvington. This isn't the first time rules have been passed against amusement games.
New York City completes a roundup of thousands of pinball machines, each valued at about $100.
In 1938, all of the pinball machines in New York City were confiscated and destroyed, and it was 38 years before they were legal again. But today's video game manufacturers don't seem worried. While individual towns may restrict the use of the games, overall, business continues to boom. There are 500,000 video games in the United States today, and industry sources say there will be a lot more. The real future of video games, however, isn't in the hands of either the manufacturers who are pushing the games or the parents who want to stop them.
The player, the person who is willing to spend the quarter, he's the dominant force.
Do you think that video games are going to be here to stay, or are they just a fad that's going to go away?
They'll be here to stay.
I think it might die down a little bit.
I think they're going to be around for a long time. Because they say we're living in space age, and these games are space age.
Do you think that they're here to stay, or is it just another hula hoop sort of?
Probably another hula hoop.
No, I think they're going to be around for good. Too many people are hooked on them now. I don't think they're going to end that quick.
Your Honor, let's look at the evidence. New Dinky Donut cereal looks like little donuts. But it stays crispy in milk. And it's fortified with 8 vitamins, plus iron. Dinky Donut cereal is a good part of this nutritious breakfast. And we rest our case. Why? The judge ate the evidence. I couldn't help it. The case is closed. New Dinky Donuts looks and tastes like little donuts. But it's really a delicious cereal. I love it. Ready? Get set, go!
You can race through the maze. On and on, make it marathon. Through the hurdles. On and on, make it marathon. Through the tilts. On and on, make it marathon. To the basketball. On and on, make it marathon. I won! Madcap Marathon. It keeps you on the move.
Madcap Marathon is 4 games in 1. You have to put it together. By Tommy.
All of us have fantasies, but only some of us have them come true. Take the case of David.
Every now and then over the past several months, in moments when I wasn't working here in this room, I have wandered into another world, a wonderful one, inhabited by some joyous creatures who have become friends. I visited them in the desert of New Mexico and in a mysterious mansion in a certain East Coast metropolis. But they live all over, wherever there is innocence, wherever there is memory or magic.
Oh, I'll get it, yeah.
This is such a place, among the efficient professionals making a movie on location near Albuquerque. This was just about the last day of shooting for an adventure film that will open soon at a theater near you, as they say. It has a lot of stars, almost none of them people. This is the second feature movie of the Muppets, that rowdy band of players that has now completed a final year of television programs and is about to go big time, directed into our world by their inventor, Jim Henson.
In the television show, we bring a guest into the Muppet world, and for the features, we're taking the characters out into the real world. And that's a lot of fun.
The real world is supposed to be big and cruel, and the Muppets are so innocent. Aren't you afraid you'll harm them?
Well, let's see. No, I think that whole, it's the Muppets meeting the world, you know. I think that's one of their appeals. They have this kind of an innocence of a person meeting the world for the first time.
And action!
Up here, isn't it?
Kermit? Huh? What if we drift out to sea? What if we're never heard from again? What if there's a storm? Or we get struck by lightning? That'd be neat.
Listen, nothing's gonna happen. This is just the opening credits.
Oh, where are they? Wow!
The Great Muppet Caper.
Nice title.
The Great Muppet Caper, the newest accumulation of Muppet madness for the movies.
There's very few things that we do that we created. I think we've invented very little, but what we've done is we've taken a lot of different techniques that from all different forms of puppetry and television and sort of put them all together into one thing.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Good.
At the moment, we're doing some new things with radio control, and we're different ways of manipulating characters.
This piece fits on the axis of it. The artist is the person who, with the performer, creates the show. And we would in that case. What I do is help them all as much as I can by making it possible for them to do things which, without these devices, they otherwise might not be able to achieve. It would fit.
His name is Faz Fazakas, and he's a wizard. He works in the farthest corner of the lowest floor of a beautiful old townhouse.
Drive through the center.
Down here, he mumbles and creates and invents marvelous devices that delight. He thinks of us smiling and chuckling, and he smiles and chuckles while he works in this Muppet factory.
We do quite a lot of remotely controlled puppets and devices, props, special effects stuff. This is basically a special effects syndrome here. And so what we put together is stuff that you just don't make. You have to think it up and then design it and put it together. It's design work.
Our story begins on a chilly day in late autumn. Emmett Otter and his ma were headed up the river, rowing and singing.
If you put the otter in the boat and put it in a pond, the puppeteer cannot row that boat, nor can he operate the otter. Now, what I did was, in this particular instance, was make it possible for this to happen. So I'm really, in a way, I'm a helper.
She was known even more for the bathing suit she wore. Even so, it was her bathing suit that made her famous. It was almost heaven sent. Many times when it was drying on the line, a tourist would mistake it for a circus tent.
For a man who likes to fiddle with gadgets and invent, this job must be some kind of pinnacle or peak.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know of any other place that could provide the opportunities for things, neat things to do, as Jim Henson would call it. He likes to say, he wants to do some neat things. And he's a good one for providing problems and asking for things. Somebody who asks you for something is your friend.
From the one bathing suit that your Grandma Otter wore. From the one bathing suit that your Grandma Otter wore.
once there were no Jane Muppets, Henson was present at the creation. She and Jim started the Muppets before they were married. That was more than 20 years ago. Do you ever yearn for the days when things were so simple, just you and Jim and a few hand puppets?
I do, yes. It was small, and I know Jim had a lot of ideas then. He just always had continuous ideas that he wanted to do, and he's been fortunate that the doors have opened so that he has the opportunity to do these larger, challenging projects. But some of it gets a bit large and vast for me.
Somebody's checking in! Somebody's checking in!
Happiness Hotel is the large and vast number from the new film. It could be a description of this place.
Order dinner, there's no kitchen anymore. But if the road been kind of bumpy and you need to rest a spell, well, welcome home to Happiness Hotel.
It's like taking anything that exists in nature and giving it a life. It's like you start walking around and everything you see starts to sort of talk or move or, for example, this could very well be someone poking me with a feather, or it could be a bird brushing against my face. It could be anything you want it to be.
Welcome home, welcome home, welcome home. No matter where you wander, you will never do as well.
I notice this is not exactly a dour, somber place to work.
No, I don't think it could be. The whole concept of behind a puppet show is kind of joyous. Just, that's the nature of puppets. I think this is one of the reasons people think of it somewhat as a children's medium, because it's innocent. And I don't mean the Muppets are innocent, but...
Some are more innocent than others.
Some are more innocent than others, yeah.
They are superstars, gliding innocently through the culture on the smooth machines of Faz Fazakas, singing along with Jim Henson and Frank Oz, the Piggy perpetrator. Frank Oz's creation, Miss Piggy, has us all acting as silly as Tom Sawyer's showing off for Becky Thatcher.
The remarkable thing about Miss Piggy is that no matter how many clothes she has, whenever she's invited to do something, we go through her closets and there's nothing. She has nothing to wear.
Miss Piggy's Gowns by Calista Hendrickson.
That's a very common feeling among women, you know. Whatever, no matter how many clothes you have, you never have anything that's really suitable for the occasion, and you've got to get something new.
It occurs to me that none of the other great designers of the world have clients as demanding as yours. Just designing for Miss Piggy alone must be a challenge.
Well, she does have certain personality traits which make it sometimes difficult, but on the whole, it's a delight to design for such a star.
She's, how would you describe the Piggy style?
Well, I think we can all agree that it's excessive, overdone, super feminine, super alluring, very much caught up in her own fantasy of who she is.
Any woman would be proud to own such a thing as this.
Most of what Miss Piggy wears is suitable in a boudoir, as you can see. She's definitely a boudoir character.
Now they're big-time movie stars. The television Muppet Show is going into reruns. The Muppets are part of us now. They are alive for us.
They have a kind of life. And it's interesting because with the Muppet Show coming to an end, I'm very concerned because you spend 5 years building this relationship between them all, and Kermit and Piggy and Gonzo and Fozzie, and, and then when the show stops, that life can't end. It's got to keep going, and it will in various and sundry forms.
After working with the Muppets, Lily Tomlin said, it's like working with anybody else, except when you have to take a break, you don't go out for coffee together. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, as we put them all in the drawer, in boxes and so forth, which we try not to let anybody see us put them in the boxes.
But even seeing some of the characters lying around here, they still seem live to me.
Charlie,
Oh, wow. Like, I knew you're busy and everything, but maybe you could stop and have some herbal tea and granola bars. I mean, after all, you're one of my favorite people on TV, and you're such a good-looking dude.
Can we please get on with this, Mr. Kuralt?
Huh?
This did not happen with Morley Safer.
Oh, really? Did somebody say Morley Safer?
Okay, Janice. Thanks.
Well,
We're working with fantasy here. You know, this is illusion, and there's a play element which is terribly important. We have to never lose that.
We sort of write things that we enjoy, and we write the kind of entertainment that we have fun with. So we're really working for ourselves.
Now she has left us, left with sweet memories, and left with something more.
More than just fun, it's enriching. It's the kind of thing that challenges. And if you have a focus that demands something of you, so you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it, then you're on the edge of fulfilling something in yourself.
Well, what if there's a storm? Or we get struck by lightning? That'd be neat.
There are a lot of people working very hard to make those characters seem that real. They work very carefully, and that's a surprise to me a lot of times, how many people are willing to devote themselves to making these characters real. Magic, it's a magic kind of quality.
You got every kind of critter. You got every kind of pest. But we treat them all as equal, just like any other guest. So you're sweeter than the others, still as far as we can tell. You'll fit right in to Happiness Hotel. We'll fit right in to Happiness Hotel.
Woo-wee! I'd like to try this without the balloon.
Try what? Plummeting?
Yeah!
I suppose you could try it once.
Kermit? How long are these opening credits?
Just about another minute or so.
My ears are popping.
I wonder how far you could plummet before you blacked out.
Well, don't try it, Gonzo. We need you for this movie.
Sure is tempting.
Kermit? What does BSC stand for?
I don't know.
Gee, a lot of people worked on this movie.
This is nothing. Wait till you see the end credits.
Kermit? Are the credits over?
Not quite.
Nobody reads those names anyway, do they?
Sure. They all have families.
For later news this Sunday, watch the CBS Evening News with Morton D.
The defense of the United States, a powerful deterrent to nuclear war.
John, put that back.
Why?
Aunt Millie's spaghetti sauce.
Who?
When I was a kid in New York, my mama used to buy a great tasting sauce from a neighbor, Aunt Millie.
Could this be the same?
100% natural. Lots of tomatoes, slow simmered for natural sweetness. No sugar added like that one.
Bet your mama could tell.
I know that taste, Aunt Millie's. There's no other spaghetti sauce quite like it.
Aunt Millie's, 100% natural, no sugar added.
It's Strange and Spooky Week on The Muppet Show with Vincent Price, Doug Henning, and Marty Feldman. Don't miss the frantic fun with The Muppets beginning Wednesday at 7:30 on Channel 2.
Poor Losers, tonight at 6 and 11.
to the Minute with Mike Wallace, Morley Safer, Harry Reasoner, and Ed Bradley. Today, violence on the screen. Has it gone too far?
Today, violence is more honestly shown. You do show that when you're shot, rather nasty things happen to your body.
I'm Ed Bradley. This week on Up to the Minute, we're looking at violence, its causes, and how people are reacting to it. Many people feel that if you're looking for a major contributing cause, you need look no further than the screen at your local movie theater and the screen on your television set at home. Today, we're going to examine the movies and television. With us are Dr. Thomas Radecki, a psychiatrist and head of the National Coalition on Television Violence, a nonprofit group whose goal is to reduce violence in the media. David Cronenberg, writer and director of numerous R-rated and violent films. Dr. Radecki's group monitored Mr. Cronenberg's most recent film, Scanners, and clocked it at 47 violent acts per hour. And Townes Osborne, president of the Washington, D.C. Association for Television and Children. She's the mother of 2 children, ages 3 and 11. We'll begin in just a moment.
Foot of the Law, guys.
Did you think your mom would send you on a hiking trip with just anybody?
Right, guys. I know how rough camping can be, and Fruit of the Loom really stands up to Tim's kind of fun.
Thanks to our Superman waistbands.
Snaps back, wash after wash.
That's quality. At a low price.
Something a mother really loves. I hope you'll be okay on your first hike, Timmy.
Don't worry, Mom. The guys will be with me.
Boys cotton briefs with Superman waistband, only $1.33 each.
Oh, no, there's only one trash bag left.
That's okay.
How am I going to stuff all that in there?
Overstuff it. It's a hefty.
Hefty can take it, 'cause we make it tough enough to overstuff.
Tough industrial strength plastics. Let Hefty stretch where most bargain bags break. More stretching for more stuffing, so you can use fewer bags.
Oh, that's in here.
Hefty trash bags.
Tough enough to overstuff.
I'd like to begin with 2 postulates about violence. 1, to most of us, violence is repulsive. 2, to almost all of us, violence perversely is fascinating. Admit it, even as you clench your teeth in anger and indignation over news of the latest murder, rape, or robbery, if you're completely honest with yourself, you know way down inside you that spasm of curiosity, that twinge of excitement, triggered off involuntarily by the stimulus of violence. Please keep this paradox in mind as we turn to the movies to explore America's romance with violence. This happens to be a good time to do so because the word from Hollywood is that the coming trend there is the revenge movie.
Just such a movie was in the works when we went on location this summer at a county park in Southern California. The people you see here are preparing to film part of a projected sequel to Death Wish. The original, in 1974, was violent, controversial, and very successful. Charles Bronson played a New Yorker whose family was brutalized by thugs. In a spirit of vengeance, he goes looking for thugs, any thugs, and kills them. Critics were shocked both by the vigilante executions on the screen and the cheers they received from the audience. The movie ended with Bronson heading west, and the location for the sequel is Los Angeles. Otherwise, it could be a remake. Once again, Bronson's family is brutalized, and once again, he seeks violent revenge. Why on earth are they doing it again, except for sheer exploitation? Well, here's one difference. The director of both films, Michael Winner, promises the sequel will be even more bloody than the original. Winner's from England, where recently they've had their own problems with violence. But he still sees it as an American specialty, and he seems to admire us for it.
Well, America is a more violent society than most of the Western societies, and it has its own particular economic and cultural reason for that. Any violent society tends to produce the greater artists, the greater vibrancy, the most interesting culture. You know, Switzerland, which has been very non-violent, as was said in The Third Man, has produced the cuckoo clock. The actor who plays the part of Slick. Slick, you're walking very slowly for a stuntman. I think when I was at school and brought up on films, violence was very dishonestly represented in that, for example, in the John Wayne war films, war was shown as kind of a cheerful, up-and-atom college spree. And if someone was shot, they rolled over rather nicely. And somebody said, there goes poor John. And he was gone. It's a real shock to you, Lawrence, because you thought it was a musical comedy. Not. He's not even dancing, Lawrence. He's dead. He's dead. Right.
Standing by for picture.
Action. Today, violence is more honestly shown. You do show that when you're shot, rather nasty things happen to your body.
Now, everyone is ready to stand by, yes, because the blood is the last thing to go on.
Presumably, once people see how horrible violence really is, they'll commit less of it. Or would they commit more of it? In the meantime, Michael Winner claims he's just answering a popular need.
People don't want to just see people talking. They like to see action.
The big thing that's going to sell it is the heels coming up.
In cinema, it gives the public something that they can't see on television, because violence is very edited down in television. And that's very important today. If you're selling tickets, you've got to give people something that they can't see for free elsewhere. Action!
If, like Michael Winner, you want to do things with the human body that you can't see elsewhere, then you go to Stan Berman. His work combines painting and sculpture with high technology.
For Heaven's Gate, what we designed was the path of the bullet. For instance, you'll see a girl ride up on a horse, and she's shot, and the bullet goes through the palm of her hand, out the back of her hand, hitting her in the cheek, and passing out through the back of her head. I think probably the most commonly asked for act of violence is decapitation. This is a decapitation of Garrett Graham in the picture Demon Seed. Again, this was from The Beast Within. His head was torn off by this beast monster. This is kind of a unique head that we had to make. Shows the process of beginning. This is a gelatin face. We put that head in a situation where you now see it the way it was photographed, and this big monstrous bear in Prophecy just crushed her face on camera, and it was rigged for bleeding and animation, and this was supposedly her father. We did this exact same thing. In the last 10 years, people have discovered, money people, have discovered that this kind of graphic repulsion, this kind of very vivid blood-letting films make a lot of money. They make a tremendous amount of money. So films are now in competition. People are trying to outdo each other. And they come to me and they ask me, what can we do? And we don't want it like the last one. We want it more graphic. We want it much more real. We want much more animation. We want an absolute feeling of reality.
For the ultimate in reality, Winner, the director, threw in 2 more rape scenes. That was too much even for the man who wrote the original screenplay, David Engelbach.
I think there's a lot of fear out there, just fear. And I think that one of the things I'd hoped to do with this film was to create a catharsis for the audience, to allow them to get out some of that fear and that anger by watching someone they can identify with take the law in their own hands and mete justice out. I don't feel that that's necessarily compatible with creating sequences of personal, graphic violence against women.
She goes, and there she goes. And she is not having a good day. For a rape scene, you have to have people who are very, very uninhibited, who are prepared, as it were, to have a go and not worry about nudity or about what they're doing. So we actually have rape rehearsals where they usually rape furniture. We don't put anyone in with them. And we pick out the most uninhibited and inventive actors for these scenes. This is a rough cut of a scene where the muggers come into the house of Charles Bronson, hoping to find him, but in fact just find his housekeeper, and therefore they taunt and attack and later rape the housekeeper. This is rather the introductory moments where they're taunting her and talking about her and starting to undress her and play about with her. In the first script I got, you didn't see a rape, no, you saw a murder. But I think that the whole weight of the film depends on the 5 muggers in Death Wish 2 being so hateful and so horrible and doing things to people who are so nice. Terribly important that their victims are very nice. But the audience then is geared up to wish them ill and delighted and in a way happy when ill befalls them. You see a certain amount of nudity. You don't see the nudity you would see in your porno theatre, of course, but you see a semblance of vicious attack, which often, by not going as far as in the porno theatre, I think can be more exciting in a way and more horrible.
Stan Berman agrees with Winner on the power of suggestion.
The real horror is in our own mind. It's the fear of the unknown. Once you get to see it, it's a relief because it's over. Not being able to quite see that actual act of violence, not being able to scrutinize it, it's much more terrorizing.
Then why does Berman continue making props that leave nothing to the imagination, all the while wondering if he might be helping activate potential psychopaths in the audience?
The more realistic I get, I don't know what that does to the person who is beyond fascination. A person who has those problems, I don't know what kind of response there is. I would like to stop doing this. But the money's very good. The money's very good. I've been able to make a very, very good living. I would like to go on to something else.
Why don't you put that in the bag? Well, I'll start on the other arm. Okay.
Action! Do you know when Shakespeare did his plays, he had people carrying on severed heads on sticks and slitting throats. He had a better script than we do, of course, but that's what he did. Well, he's going to go like 5 miles an hour, Richard. We want to at least double his speed or more. Violence has had a place in drama through recorded time, and it's had a place in life through recorded time. And if for thousands of years people have been mugging, raping, beating, robbing, and all the things they are still doing, it can hardly be blamed on the cinema or television, which has only been going since 1910.
All right, you can put it out.
Dr. Radecki, does the violence that we see in the movies and on television cause more violence in real life?
Unquestionably, there are several hundred research studies that show the violence that we've just finished seeing is exactly the type that we're talking about, definitely teaches and increases violence and fear in real life in large amounts.
David Cronenberg?
I believe that watching violence on television and movies affects people. I don't agree that it affects it in the way that Dr. Radecki seems so certain it does.
Mrs. Osborne?
Those pictures that we just saw, that I just saw, I won't forget. They'll live in my mind. It's the old cliche that a picture's worth 1,000 words. And the short-term profit that is being made, I honestly believe is going to lead to long-term bankruptcy.
We'll have more to say about all of this when we return.
Presenting the fruit, the whole fruit, and nothing but the fruit, with no sugar added. Libby Light Fruits, fresh fruit with no sugar added in Libby's own flavored blend of real fruit juices.
A delicious fresh fruit taste.
Fresh fruit in real fruit juices. Tastes great.
Natural tasting without all the sugar. That's light.
Libby Light Fruits with no sugar added. America's favorite light fruits because you taste the fruit, the whole fruit, and nothing but the fruit.
Shine it up, shine it down, spread that
to show for it. I clean with Glass Plus and show off the shine. Windows to chrome, plus a whole lot more. Look anywhere in my house. There's a shine all around.
Shine it here, shine it there. Glass Plus shines up everywhere.
It shines glass, plus a whole lot more.
For a moist, super moist cake, Creamy Deluxe is the only frosting that's good enough, because it's buttercream creamy.
We did it!
Make someone happy, you and Betty Crocker can.
The buttercream creaminess of Creamy Deluxe. It's the only way to frost the incredible moistness of a super moist cake.
You and Betty Crocker can.
We did it!
Make someone happy.
Sears presents the coat you can wear anywhere.
This week, save $12 on this Easy Wear and Easy Kieran Pile Pat coat. Now just $27.99. Easy wearing because it's lightweight for comfort and quilted for warmth. Easy Kieran because it's machine washable. The Sears pant coat to wear anywhere in 4 cozy colors, now just $27.99. But hurry, sale ends Saturday.
For a coat you can count on Sears.
Mrs. Osborne, what's your opinion of movie violence, television violence, and of people like Mr. Winter, we saw in the film, and Mr. Cronenberg, who says he makes different films, but still, your characters do pretty violent things?
Yes, they're violent films, I agree.
Well, overall, visual violence, the quantity is the thing that I find just staggering in the past 15 or 20 years. Even if you want to assume the role as a responsible parent and try to monitor the films that your children see, the television programming that your children see, you are still living in a society that is raised with more visual violence than in any other time in history. And the allusions that are made on that film to Shakespeare, etc., you don't have millions of people.
I have to disagree with you about being more visually exposed to violence than any other time in history. I mean, that's an incredible statement to make. The Middle Ages was full, absolutely full of violent imagery. It's true they didn't have television, but church imagery was all incredibly violent. The saints with the arrows going through their bodies, and
you're not spending 4 hours, 5 hours a day.
Well, I don't. All I know is that the medieval European culture.
That's showing the consequences of violence. That's not showing the violence. Okay, what you folks are showing is you're showing the killing. You're showing and glorifying it, making it really exciting.
Well, I don't know that
the saints with arrows. Oh, come on.
Well,
no, wait a second. I mean, that was one example that you're jumping on, but I mean, anyone familiar with other eras of history knows. There are plays that were strictly violent. Punch and Judy is a violent play. The Grand Guignol in Paris of the late 1800s is violent. It was actually a horror theater.
No, Winter says in the film that we saw that when you depict that violence so realistically, so graphically, that people can see how horrible it is, that they're less inclined to go out and commit a violent act.
No, I think they become more fearful. There are a small percentage of people who will imitate behavior that they see on television. And in fact, the imitation factor is the whole basis of advertising. You are presented with a scene and it's made to look glamorous or enticing. And imitative behavior is the name of the game.
I wouldn't call the scenes that we saw in that clip.
Well, they also.
Well, you didn't get to see the scenes later on. Those are the scenes that make you anxious. The scenes later on where you have the revenge, where the good guy becomes violent and it's glamorized. Then that is the scenes. Actually, a large percentage of people will be affected by programs and will become more anxious and more irritable and angry.
I mean, Mr. Winter said that people cheer. Oh, well, actually, it was the narrator, I think, said that people cheered when Charles Bronson shot all these bad guys. How do you interpret that? Don't you interpret that as an audience having some fantasy revenge against frustrations and things in their real lives that they could not really do in their real life? I mean, I don't...
That's exactly the people that cheer, and when you have a program where people are cheering violence, research shows that those are the people most strongly affected by what they're seeing, who will be most likely to imitate violence when you then take them into a setting. That's the research.
Using myself as my basic test case, because I'm not, I mean, you have a professional reason for looking at statistics and accumulating them. I don't. But as myself, as a child raised on, well, they were Hopalong Cassidy movies, but I'm sure if you counted violent acts per half hour, you would find quite a few of them, up to now. And real violence, when I'm exposed to a fist fight in a parking lot, I get weak in the knees and I feel physically ill. It's always been like that. I have never been in a fist fight. I abhor violence in reality.
Have you been exposed to a fist fight in a parking lot?
Well, very rarely, in fact, very rarely.
Let me show you the big fantasy movie, the big hit of the past summer, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I went to see the film. There was one scene where Harrison Ford had just wiped out every bad guy who had confronted him, and now he's face to face with the most expert swordsman of the Middle East.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to outdo this guy. He just leans back, pulls out his gun, shoots him. I cheered along with everyone in that theater. It was fantastic. Now, does that mean that I'm going to go out and commit a violent act?
No, that doesn't mean you're going to go out and commit a violent act, but that means that there is some slightly greater chance that you might be more irritable, more angry if you were placed in a difficult situation sometime in the near future after that. Yes, it does mean that we can be affected. It's interesting, 65% of people think that other people are affected, but only 3% think that they themselves are affected. And the research would show the majority of us are affected even in just after several hours of viewing.
Would you agree with that?
I'm not clear enough on the research. I do know that children, I have my own as an example, if they're exposed to a lot of violence, that it does affect their behavior.
Thank you all for being with us. We're out of time. You've been watching Dr. Thomas Radecki, who's the head of the National Coalition on Television Violence, David Cronenberg, who's a movie writer and director from Canada, and Townes Osborne, who's the president of the Washington Association for Television and Children. We'll have more in a moment.
These Palmolive suds last and last.
And last and last and last. Us Palmolive suds don't know the meaning of the word quit, but we sure know what value means. Palmolive liquid is concentrated to last.
One squirt did all these dishes.
What'd you call a squirt?
So you buy Palmolive less often than many brands and save.
Ah, a head for value and soft Palmolive hands for kissing.
Oh.
Palmolive saves money because the suds last and last and last.
Now new improved Colgate tastes better than ever.
You get the fluoride in the taste, the fluoride in the taste, when the clean in your mouth is Colgate.
100% pure mint taste. Better than ever.
And Colgate's got the maximum fluoride protection you can get in any toothpaste.
Proven fluoride protection.
Get the fluoride in the taste, the fluoride in the taste, when the clean in your mouth is Colgate.
Get new improved Colgate. Pure mint taste.
Maximum fluoride protection.
Smooth moves. They're all yours in the JCPenney Motion Pant. It's just like the famous name pant, and it fits like nobody's business. So tie it in, move it out, top it off, shift it into high gear, or play it to the hilt. The smooth-moving JCPenney Motion Pant. It's yours for a zippy little $18 at JCPenney.
The world's largest beauty company is coming to get you.
And I'm gonna make you feel beautiful.
We're gonna make you feel beautiful. Put a smile on your face.
Watch out, world, you're going to be beautiful.
Make you feel like a star.
This color in your new sweater, beautiful.
We're gonna make you feel beautiful.
With Avon, we're gonna make you feel beautiful. Yes, we are.
Now, some thoughts from Bob Keeshan on violent and non-violent movies.
In our film report today, you heard a movie director justifying the graphic violence in his pictures by saying, people don't want to see people just talking. They like to see action. Oh, sure. But is action always the same as violence? Think back over the major movies of recent years. Now, leave out the musicals and light comedies. They don't count here. What's left? On the one hand, that endless parade of cops and robbers whom we see in cities, on the plains, and even between galaxies. On the other, there are those films, usually the better ones, in which there is conflict, resolution, and change, without violence. For example, in The Graduate, the young hero changes from a boy to a man. We see it happen because of what he and the people around him do and say. Nobody hits anybody. The action in Midnight Cowboy is the developing friendship between two lonely men. In First Monday in October, we watch the Supreme Court justices adapting to the first woman justice in their midst. I've only started this list of films that have action without violence. You could add your own examples, but clearly it's sheer nonsense to say movies must be violent before people will go to see them.
Introducing Lay's potato chips in a great new taste. It's so delicious, it'll make you say,
Cheese! Cheese!
yes, these new Lay's brand potato chips have the zesty flavor of real cheese. One crunch and you'll say,
Yay! Cheese!
new Lay's zesty cheese flavored potato chips. So delicious, they make you say,
Cheese!
Okay, America, show us your underalls.
Underalls, pantyhose and panties all in one are only visible at department and other fine stores.
Tisk, tisk, the rest of you. Show us your underalls.
Believe it or not, there's one anti-crime technique that actually seems to work, at least in those neighborhoods where it's been tried. We're talking about civilian anti-crime patrols. In a time of reduced police budgets, are these groups really the answer? Or are they merely vigilante groups who create more problems than they solve? We'll see tomorrow. I'm Ed Bradley, and that's Up to the Minute, Up to the Minute.
Stay tuned for a very special All About Growing Up. What you feel and what happens when boys become men on The Body Human. The Facts for Boys, next.
For most people, the federal minimum wage is $3.35 an hour. You may be one of them. Contact the U.S. Department of Labor.
Tonight, the conclusion of Valley of the Dolls 1981. Lives are changing. Some fight the change.
Are you having an affair with Airline?
And some want the change.
He can never make you anything but unhappy, Anne.
A 3-hour motion picture. Catherine Hicks and James Coburn, Valley of the Dolls 1981. Tonight at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
This is CBS.
Meet Lenny the Loser. Funny they call him that because Lenny's won millions. He won a fortune on the Kentucky Derby. He won top prize in a lottery. He broke the bank in Las Vegas. Trouble is, all Lenny's wins have been in his imagination. He's never realized that to win it, you've got to be in it. 1 million New Yorkers could tell Lenny that.
I was in it, and I won it!
The game that's making New Yorkers millionaires. Yet all it takes is $1 to play the exciting weekly game that could change your life. So get in it to win it this week.
Tonight on Channel 2, a newsbreaker report, kids and casinos.
The first time I pulled a slot machine, I was about 4 years old.
They're sneaking into the casinos and defying the law.
Children being children, they love to do things they're not supposed to.
Could it lead to a lifelong addiction?
Once or twice I did steal from my parents.
Roseanne Coletti explores the heartbreak of the boardwalk in her newsbreaker report, Poor Losers, tonight at 6 and 11 on Channel 2.
The curtain's going up on the new fall TV season, and nothing gets you into it like TV Guide. Pick up the new issue today.
Strange and Spooky Week begins Wednesday.
Barnaby Jones will not be seen in order to bring you a special presentation of The Body Human, Becoming a Man. The Joker's Wild will be seen following this special presentation.
What's your girlfriend's name?
Lisa.
So she's a freshman too?
Mm-hmm.
How long you been going with her?
2 years.
She sits alone, waiting for suggestions. He's so nervous, avoiding all the questions. His lips are dry, her heart's gently pounding. Don't you just know exactly what they're thinking?
I say nobody's got all the answers to a boy's growing up. But know something? It's not as complicated as it's cracked up to be. And it can be a heck of a lot of fun, too.
Get rid of it, Chase. Get rid of it. Give it to your sweet. He's going to take her from you. He's my hero.
Changing from a boy to a man is a once-in-a-lifetime trip. It means you've made the team.
You going to try this?
Grown up.
Don't hurt yourself.
With a new body. And with new feelings.
Whoa.
And new responsibilities. I'm Ken Howard. I've been through it all.
What about your girlfriend? Yeah.
My girlfriend?
Yeah.
I married my girlfriend.
Woo! Already hooked, huh?
Just like you're going through growing up.
With Walter Cronkite.
Tonight, the ups and downs of a motion sickness cure. A chorus of seals and a scientist who listens. And the science behind a fictional universe. If you have seen this season's big space opera, The Empire Strikes Back, then you've seen this intergalactic dreadnought, and you probably have asked yourself, how in the world did they do that? I did. So to find out, I went to the hangar in San Francisco where the Imperial Star Destroyer and other fantasies are parked and readied for their next mission.
That's the way it was. In case you haven't been to the movies lately, the future is not what it used to be. There's new science behind the science fiction film, and modern motion picture technology can take us places we have never been before. On the movie screens where the Buck Rogers rocket used to spit sparks, now the Starship Enterprise heads for deep space. And Buck's trusty disintegrator pistol can't hold a candle to the sidearms in use on the edge of the black hole. And then there's Star Wars. On the definitive variety list of top movies, it stands 9 places higher than Gone with the Wind. People around the world paid $400 million to see it. Sales of Star Wars-inspired books, records, toys, and the like could eventually make it a billion-dollar picture. It is simply the most popular, most profitable motion picture ever made. And now it has a sequel. The Empire Strikes Back has been playing to capacity audiences since it opened in May. It has turned a 2-foot-high green creature named Yoda into a cult hero and is breaking the box office record set by Star Wars 3 years ago. Both films are made by a 36-year-old Californian named George Lucas. He took us on a tour of his facilities in Northern California to show us some of the technology behind a modern space opera.
Well, this is the stop-motion animation department, and they're making tauntauns run across the snow. They start by measuring out where everything is on the creature, because everything has to move just a sort of a fraction of an inch every time.
Are they looking at something to know what to do next, or are they just doing this out of their heads, sort of, moving it?
It's a whole art of, they studied movement. They shot animals and studied them against grids and things to study the motion. And then they practiced for months and months doing tests.
The series of still pictures, each slightly different from the one before, become a galloping tauntaun.
As a technology, as a science, it's fascinating, but you're ruining my fantasies. I thought those things were real.
And this is our model storage room where we keep all the models after we finish shooting them. And as you can see, we
have... It may be the world's most expensive toy chest. There are spaceships just inches across, others as large as coffee tables. The most complicated models took 4 or 5 people several months to build. Lucas estimates that some of them are worth as much as $50,000.
We have a scene where the Millennium Falcon flies along the edge of this ship. And so we had to take this little tiny section down here at the nose, you know, just this, the bare end of it, and reconstruct it to this scale. And this scale is the same scale as this. So the ship flies along, you know, like that.
Well, not quite like that. Before the Millennium Falcon could badger Darth Vader again, special cameras had to be built. The script had to be turned into storyboards with every shot planned out. Props for a whole new world had to be designed and constructed. Settings for those props had to be painted. Explosions, ray gun flares, and laser swords had to be positioned by hand in each frame. And all the elements had to be combined in a colossal multiple exposure.
What are you doing right here?
Well, this is where it all comes together. This is sort of the halfway point between when we shoot the film and when it's all put together in one piece. Here we have a reel of elements. As I say, we shoot each individual element. Then they come here to the editorial department and they sync up all the elements. They put them on top of each other and make marks about where they're supposed to start, when they're supposed to stop. Then they send that over to the optical department, and the optical department then puts it together on one piece of film. Actually, go back and we'll look at that. Okay.
A painted star field, asteroids on wires, bigger asteroids, a spaceship on a stick. Movements carefully controlled to make the viewer feel like he's moving too.
The heart of this entire kind of filmmaking is the duplication of movements.
The true star of the new wave of science fiction films is a robot camera. It may not be as attractive, or as clever, or as talkative as its screen counterparts, but it allows movie makers to do things they could never do before. A ship soaring through space actually is the camera moving around a static model. Electric motors move the camera up, down, and from side to side in a sequence preset on a panel off stage. Once the robot is programmed, it can repeat a complex series of movements with inhuman accuracy, time after time. Much of the development work on the system was done by John Dykstra, now head of his own special effects house in Los Angeles. His latest project was the movie version of Star Trek.
Can I have the camera, please? This camera system, which we've developed over a period of 3 or 4 years, is capable of performing the kinds of functions that used to take people laborious hours by hand to produce.
Nearby, down Dopey Drive on the sprawling Walt Disney lot, is the ACES camera, the robot behind the special effects in the movie The Black Hole. David English is the electronics wizard behind the Disney camera. The operator sits at a computer console and guides the camera from a television monitor. The computer replaces an entire stage crew turning hand cranks and even warns the cameraman if he's about to do something wrong.
We did a shot here. It would have taken us 5 weeks to do that filming sequence of 4 different shots. We did it in 2 days. 2 days at $6,000 or $10,000 a day is compared to 5 weeks at $6,000 or $10,000 a day. So faster, and we did it better. We did it better and faster.
But that's the real world, a place of accountant-inspired high technology. For George Lucas, such science belongs behind the scenes.
We sort of go off on our imaginations, and whatever we can do to entertain ourselves is where we go, whether it's logical or scientific or not. the films have sound in space, and we violate a lot of natural laws just for sort of entertainment and enjoyment effect, which is the prime mover. But it also gives, I think, young people an interest in space generally.
The complicated mixture of sophisticated technology, space-age machinery, and starry-eyed fantasy in today's science fiction films just may serve as inspiration for a coming generation of scientists. After all, some of today's astronauts, astronomers, and anchormen once found Buck Rogers pretty wonderful.
Know how you could save over $300 a year on gasoline? Watch. If you're an average driver, keeping your tires properly inflated could save up to $30 a year. Driving 55 instead of 70 could save $28 a year. Joining a 3-person carpool could save about $270 a year on gas alone. Learn more ways to save in the More Miles for Your Money book, free from Shell. Come to Shell for answers.
That house is special. It's over 100 years old. So I thought I'd paint it with the same thing they put on Thomas Edison's house. But I got Olympic Overcoat instead. It beats Sears Weatherbeater. Tests show that 94 out of 100 homeowners said Overcoat samples looked better longer than Sears. I think a house like that deserves a paint like this.
Olympic Overcoat, the paint that beat the Weatherbeater.
From the testimony of our own astronauts, if visitors from elsewhere in the universe aimed for the brightest region of Earth, they would touch down there in Antarctica, whose great expanses of white reflect sunlight like a huge beacon far across space. The first creatures the visitors encountered might be a chorus of singing seals, and the next might be a woman who studies their song. Charles Crawford went all the way to Antarctica for this story.
An unloved, empty land. There is no anthem for Antarctica. But there is music here. Under the thick ice sheets that cover the seas, the water is filled with loud, descending trills. Those sounds are made by seals underwater. Seals are singing, and we don't know why.
Roll over. Yep. Are you a male? No, that's a female.
Dr. Jeanette Thomas, a 28-year-old University of Minnesota biologist, is part of the team studying the Weddell seals.
One of the advantages is, as you can see, you can walk right up to these seals and measure them, tag them, do all sorts of experiments with them.
The seals return every year to territories they have staked out along the natural tide cracks in the ice sheet. And every year is a census year for the seals of Hutton Cliffs.
We're trying to, first of all, estimate how many seals there are. And in order to do that, you have to know how often they reproduce, how long they live, and what type of movements they have. So to do that, we have a tagging census program where we go out and put colored cattle ear tags on the rear flippers of seals with a number on them.
Is that painful when you put those tags in the seal?
Well, I wouldn't say it isn't painful, but I don't think it causes them any significant problems.
Try explaining that to a seal. Waterproof microphones and a remote-controlled television camera are set up under the ice. Jeanette Thomas and project director Larry Keekley can watch and record the seals in the relative comfort of a converted fishing hut. In the dim light that filters through 9 feet of ice, the seals become swift and graceful, dancing an underwater ballet to their own cries, a music as wild and strange as any on Earth.
What are you trying to find out there? What have you learned?
Well, we found out that they have about 35 different underwater vocalizations, and we're trying to answer a whole set of questions. Why do they have so many vocalizations? What do they mean? A big question has always been, do these seals echolocate? And a lot...
Meaning what? Something like sonar?
Sonar capabilities for detecting objects or for orienting in the environment. And several people have suggested that they do have echolocation, although there's really no direct evidence for that.
What the Minnesota team needed to find was evidence that Weddell seals, like dolphins and whales, send out sound pulses and listen for echoes to judge size, shape, and distance.
What we have done then is to drop this large mossini fish, which is a food source for the Weddell seal, into the water and to determine whether or not whether or not the seal would echolocate on this fish, since this is a food source for him. We hope that somehow or other, if they are echolocating, that we can stimulate it and demonstrate it.
Larry Keekley, Jeanette Thomas, and their team began work in October in what passes for spring in Antarctica. For the 3 months they were there, the sun never set, and they took advantage of the continuous daylight to work 18-hour days. In late December, they left the ice and returned via New Zealand and Hawaii to the University of Minnesota, just in time for, you guessed it, cold weather. Miles of audio and videotape were correlated, and the strange seal trills were frozen as patterns on the screen of a spectrum analyzer.
For a long time, we had the hypothesis that trills were unique to males and that they must be associated with territorial advertisement, and we've since found through surveying several seals making this call that yes, only males are making this call, and the frequencies of these calls are indeed higher during the mating season, and so we have a pretty good handle on the meaning of that call. There are other calls. There's a call that's a knock call. It's one of the most frequent calls that we just cannot identify what the purpose or function of that call is.
Nor have they found complete explanations for the ewe, mew, cricket call, the growl, the teeth chatter, or other recognizable sounds a seal makes. As for the experiments designed to demonstrate seal sonar,
in all cases that we did it, the seals were curious and swam around the fish and would sort of bump it with their nose, but again, made no sounds whatsoever, which indicates not completely, but at least to a large extent, that these animals are not echolocating in the classical sense. We know definitely they eat deep in the water, and we know definitely that it's dark. And so therefore, they're doing something to be able to locate fairly small fish, which seem to be the primary part of the diet during the winter months. And so either their vision is very underestimated, or we just simply have not figured out how they're using their vocal capabilities to locate these fish.
this will be the 10th year biologists will be back studying the behavior of Antarctic seals. In an environment so awful and strange, it seems like a dream, even to the scientists who return every year.
That type of feeling comes to mind most often when I'm riding on a bus or in a course of a conversation, someone says, "And what do you do for a living?" And then I have to chuckle to myself that I work in the Antarctic.
In the Antarctic, where under the thick ice sheets that cover the seas, seals are singing, and we don't know why yet.
challenge to take your telephone into the 21st century.
Is this really gonna work, Dad?
Uh-huh. The key is electronic switching.
What's it do?
Right now, electronic switching helps phones do more things for people.
And when I'm growing up?
It'll carry most any kind of communication. Words, pictures, numbers.
And all over America, we're installing electronic switching at the rate of 1 per business day. The Bell system, keeping your communication system the best in the world.
Okay, I'm pulling the trigger. And you're not so tough. I'm pulling the trigger on you. I'm trigger happy with Lysol disinfectant bathroom cleaner. Kills germs on surfaces. Rubs out soap scum. Shines tile and chrome without scratching. Get trigger happy. Get Lysol disinfectant bathroom cleaner. Refills too.
Motion sickness, for those afflicted by it, is a misery and a nuisance, but is not necessarily incapacitating. Lord Nelson, the famous British sailor, destroyed the French fleet in spite of chronic seasickness. And there's a persistent story that Lawrence of Arabia got camel sick. But for some of today's adventurers, especially those who may spend long periods in space, motion sickness can be devastating. That's why, as John Stossel learned recently, scientists are beginning to pay much closer attention to the queasy rider.
1 in every 2 families, according to one survey, has someone who gets motion sick. For most of us, it means little more than mild discomfort. But for a fighter pilot or an astronaut, it's much more serious. Half of Skylab's astronauts got motion sick. And that's why the military and NASA are spending millions on research. And so we went to them to find out more about this confusing problem. Tom Jacobson wants to fly for the Navy, but on his first training flight, he got so motion sick, he passed out. So either you make it in this program and learn here not to be motion sick, or you're out.
Right. I either get desensitized to motion here, or I go back to doing something else for the Navy.
Desensitized. That means bobbing his head in this chair until the motion no longer makes him nauseous. Of course, why should just bobbing his head make him nauseous? Because this is no ordinary room, as I learn when I try to walk across it, or throw a ball in it. All this becomes clear when you look at it from the outside. It's the Navy's rotating room in Pensacola, Florida. The Navy and NASA are using all kinds of machines to make people sick, in hopes of learning why some motions are more likely to make you nauseous than others, and why some people are more immune than others. They've learned that it has something to do with our inner ear. There's liquid inside these canals which sloshes around as we move. The moving liquid bends tiny hairs in the canals, and that tells your brain which way you're moving. Fine, this helps you keep your balance. The problem begins when the brain starts receiving too many signals, or signals that conflict. For example, in this chair, my inner ear tells my brain I'm spinning, but my eye says I'm not. Hence the signals conflict, and I quickly get sick.
The reason for that... Okay, all right, we'll stop.
Sensory conflict, they call it. NASA psychologist Kathleen Surrey.
And it goes into that area of the brain which correlates all these things, and it says, ugh, this doesn't fit anymore. You know, there's something wrong here. And that results in the feeling of nausea and motion sickness.
This sensory conflict theory explains how you can get sick in a movie, or even if you get very close to your TV set and watch this. Your eyes say you're moving. Your inner ear says you're not. Likewise, on a boat, people get sick more often below decks. Your eyes tell you everything seems steady. Your ear says you're moving. Reading in a car causes sensory conflict too. Your eyes don't see the motion your ear feels. Why do car passengers get motion sick when the driver almost never does? Probably because as driver of the car, I'm in control of the motion. For example, if I slam on the brakes, I know what to expect. It's more of a surprise to the passenger's brain. This may be why athletes don't get motion sick. They're in control of their motion. They've also built up to it gradually. Here at Ames Research Center near San Francisco, NASA psychologist Pat Cowings is training people to reduce motion sickness symptoms simply by wanting to. It's called biofeedback.
When we first bring a subject into the laboratory for training, the very first thing we do is make him sick.
As the subject begins to get sick, Dr. Cowings records heart rate, sweating, and blood flow to note what motion sickness does to her body. Then she teaches the subject to avoid the attack by learning to control those responses. Learning to control your own blood pressure or heart rate, says Cowings, is just like learning to play the piano.
If you hit the wrong note, that information is sent to your brain by your sense of hearing.
It sounds wrong.
It sounds wrong. All it takes is practice, repetition, to eventually hit the right keys every time.
Likewise, she says, when you can see or hear your blood pressure, you can control it too.
When she sees that her blood flow is increasing because the numbers go up, she now has the same completed feedback loop that the piano player has. She simply directs her attention to that finger and thinks about blood flow increasing. The meter tells her whether or not she's doing it right. Feel your hands. Don't think, feel. Constrict the blood vessels in your hands. Work. Increase heart rate.
And just because she can see the results, she can control it.
That's the general consensus of people in my field. It's really not that difficult. You want a lesson?
No thanks. But of the people she's trained, volunteers paid $4 an hour to be made sick, 85% can now control their bodies so they don't get symptoms. Now you've learned to control it.
Yeah, I don't get sick anymore.
Not at all?
Yeah.
And you can lower your heart rate and lower your blood pressure and...
Yeah.
Just by wanting to?
Yeah. Training is something I can use every day, you know. I can use it to control a headache. Or, you know, I know whenever I go out sailing, I'm never going to get sick again.
NASA hopes Cowings can use biofeedback to train future astronauts to control their space sickness. But that's for the future. For now, what can we do? Well, motion sickness pills do work, though not for everyone. And you may have to change brands to find one that works for you. And you must take the pill at least a half hour before you're exposed to motion. Once you're sick, the pill won't help. Neither will alcohol. That makes the symptoms worse. What you eat, by the way, doesn't matter. What will work is anything that helps reduce the sensory conflict. Watch the horizon. That way your eyes will see the same motion your inner ear reports. If you can't see the horizon, say you're in an airplane or below decks on a ship, then close your eyes, hold your head steady. Then there will at least be fewer confusing messages for your brain to handle. If all that fails, take heart. The sickness will pass as soon as your body adjusts to the motion. And that seldom takes longer than 3 days.
Gene Stouter, Manager, Silicon Integrated Microcircuits. This is who we are and what we do at General Motors.
GM is making great strides in the application of automotive electronics. The reason for that is the microprocessor-centered computer. It really opens the possibilities for all kinds of engine advances. The microprocessor will actually be adjusting the pulse of the fuel. It's going to make the engine run with very low emissions. The people in the plant are very highly skilled and totally devoted to what they're doing. It's exciting, and there's a feeling of being on the frontier. It's a fantastic challenge. Billions of semiconductors that all have to come together and be assembled into a reliable product. The 80s have been termed the second industrial revolution. General Motors is right in the center of that.
General Motors, people building transportation to serve people.
Well, that's Universe for this week. Next Saturday, among other stories, a wonder drug with falling expectations, and the latest thing in arcs. These programs are part of an experiment in sharing some interesting, sometimes surprising things we've found in the world of science and technology. And we invite you to join our search. If you'd like to learn more about one of these stories on your own, we'll be glad to send you a list of sources. And if there are areas you would like explored on the air, let us know. This is your Universe. Good night.
For the reading list, send a stamped self-addressed envelope to Universe, Post Office Box 76, New York, New York, 10001.
Wednesday, one tragic act set their lives on a collision course that shocked the nation. 4 days in Dallas, Wednesday night at 8:30, 7:30 Central and Mountain. Previously broadcast as Ruby and Oswald. Now get set for the Bad News Bears, coming up next.
We Americans have seen the light, and we're putting it out. For the latest on smoking and quitting, write Smoke Watch, Rockville, Maryland, 20857.
This is CBS.